Alright, that's enough. So today I wore a green shirt. I could put on black pants. I wanted to wear brown pants to look like an army man. And I put on the Nightmare Before Christmas socks to give me personality. Sometimes I put on some Blue's Clues underwear for those who dare to see what's inside. So today I got some donuts. See, the lady at the store is real nice. I know the lady. Sometimes I crave sprinkle donuts. You know, they're the small ones. But this lady, because she knows me, she knows I love glazed donuts. She gives me glazed sprinkle donuts. You know, we're best friends. We're besties. So, let's see. So, this is what I got. And usually, because no one eats sugar in the house, I do. When I see donuts, I go, oh my God, donuts, oh my God. So I'm out of there because nobody eats sugar or carbs. And when I do, I call it my dirty Boken. So usually I take a bite of every donut and leave it because no one can have my donuts. Sometimes they crave a little donut, but not when I'm in the house. So that's the first one. My mother still tells me I can only have one donut. So I take a bite out of all of them. Because sometimes one donut is bad. It tastes bad, but the other donut tastes better. So this blue one tastes like mint with a ending taste of blueberries. Now it's a red one. And they're all soft and chewy. I like them chewy. Add some yeast, but not the stinky yeast. That one tastes like I just tasted glaze with food coloring. Coconut. Yeah, I got coconut. One glaze. The other one's glazed. I'm gonna leave it alone. So now, you know, I think I'll just talk while eat while I talk to them. So that's how girls be talking nowadays. You know, they say, he said, it's 5 in the morning and his nickname is Richard. And he on the hotline and that's a telephone. No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. You know, a lot of girls are doing that trend where They go, so you on the telephone, I'm saying, and I'm on the hotline, and I'm calling. No, you're not on the telephone. You're on the hotline. So for you guys who don't know, poetry, the beauty of poetry. Thank you very much, Mother. So the beauty of poetry, you know, when poetry came out, it was like music. Shakespeare and Pilgrims wrote poetry around the same time. It's funny. The funny thing about poetry is when it came out, everyone wanted to do it. So that's the rich, that's the poor. Isn't that fun? Isn't that? You know, it's very hard when you want to prove yourself to a talent agency and you're quiet. You know, but you want to be famous. And you want to get looked at and just get hired. Boom. That's what we're working on. You ain't talking my language. You know, I said a lot of things about the school system. It's meant to find love. It's meant to make you stupid. It's meant for a lot of things. One of the things teachers are not allowed to do is be themselves. Be yourself. You know, they are giving words to teach to the youth. You know, that's the school system, right? And if I sat here and say, don't procrastinate and try really hard, you know, it sounds like the school system. That's the system. You know, it almost sounds like jail, if you catch my drift. Yes, all the ugly girls want to flex. All the ugly girls want to flex. But none of them want to be you. You know, they don't want you as the leader. They don't want you as the captain. So you still have to understand that, yes, everyone wants to flex, but none of them want to be you. Let's talk a little bit about myself. Me growing up. You know, I only had 2 girlfriends. Had lots of options. Lots of options. I'm just bragging a little bit. But I was prom prince. And my middle school sweetheart, high school sweetheart was the princess. I could have been king and queen, but I didn't want that. I wanted prince and princess because, you know, I'm coming into power. My poetry coming soon. Money poetry. I could have been king, but you know, I'm a prince. I'm moving up. But I let my friend, I ain't let nobody. We voted. That's what they like to say in school. People are voting, not trying to vote for me. And I worked on the yearbook, so I made my own yearbook. If y'all want to see my yearbook, send me a message. Let's not talk about exes on here. But you can see it in my yearbook. And one of the reasons I say the school system helps you find love is because they have prom king, prom queen, and you're underage. Yes, a king and a queen are voted. They don't have to be a couple. They could be a leader. um, So girls who want to fight, stop flirting with me. I'm honestly over it. I'm not on your level. I'm not in high school no more. Are you having fun? How could you not be having fun sitting down alone? And that's why we don't invite them to the party. Would I be getting divorced the rest of my life? But I mean, sure, she fell in love though. She fell in love for sure. You know, a woman, their first long-term relationship is usually in high school. You know, every girl I had usually stays 5 years. I got options, but you know, I have my Netflix and chill. But every woman usually long relationship is in high school, is in college, and it's to understand a man. It's to understand boys. You know, they never been around a man and a boy. And what you have to understand is you're not that important. Um, you'll be surprised how many hate men because you were acting too childish. I see many of y'all in college still act like that. Like you're mad at the world, you're mad at the girl, or they made a gangster. I don't know. And made love to her real good. And some of these girls don't even know what's a gangster. They're delusional. Nowadays they have to ask, "Are you a gangster?" And then call police on that. Like the guy's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And me on the other hand only had two girlfriends with lots of options. And I like to say women have planned to the age they're 22 to date as many as men as they possibly can. Um, and they're looking for the one with most money. Usually, luckily by college, you have college money, you got it part time. You know, you're able to spend money on a girl for at least 10 years, right? And if you keep on working. But then I think about the girls, I don't know. Um, Especially, if you're on YouTube, you're looking for the money. But then I know so many high school sweethearts, middle school sweethearts, and old ones too, with 3 kids. They say only dated once, fat, skinny, big. And I guess there's that side of the story. So accept reality. Forget and beer. Conclusion, I should write it down. I'll remember or forget. I don't think I ever heard someone go, wow, when they hear someone speak. Except when they talk about space. I am space. I am like space. There's this theory. It's called carbon theory. Right now, a lot of people are running around the cities and running out of breath and can't breathe, right? Um, and there's this idea that astronauts be given some medicine so they can breathe under carbon. So carbon, you got carbon and oxygen. You breathe in oxygen and you release carbon, but there's still oxygen in your carbon. There's components of oxygen and carbon. So there's two oxygen, but it's not fully oxygen until the the plant goes through photosynthesis and farts. Um, and it releases oxygen. It, it makes glucose, and when it makes glucose, sugar, it releases oxygen. But they say there's this medicine that lets you rely on carbon, so what you breathe out. So when an astronaut puts on a helmet and there's no oxygen, there's only carbon, but carbon has a little bit of oxygen, but you're relying on mostly carbon, so then you can breathe. And just in case space gets in there, hopefully it's just carbon. But they're saying, you're running around in the city, can't breathe, right? Because now they reverse your breathing. Now you're breathing through carbon and not oxygen. So maybe if you did this, cover your face, you can breathe better, you feel better. So try to catch your carbon in the bag. Because there's not much out there. So women don't just sit down. Women know a date is free. They're all trying to date everyone they can and whoever they can by the time they're 25. So one thing that's really simple to understand is on Earth, you have rocks. And in space, you have more rocks. And Earth, we have oxygenated rocks. They have oxygen. The rocks are filled with oxygen. In space, they have no oxygen rocks. The rocks are all dead, right? Why does no one say that? I said it right now. So there's this thing where unoxygenated rocks, meteorites, there's this reaction that happens when they meet oxygenated rocks, like Earth. Good. Every time I go see my brother, what you want? So there's this thing where unoxygenated rocks meet oxygenated rocks, and it turns on fire. I talked about the moon turning Antarctica cold, and the thing is, when such a big meteorite comes through the Earth atmosphere, space is cold. Cold comes in from space. Space is cold, so whenever there's a hole in the ozone or a rock gets through, cold is falling down. It's also known as dead space. And it could fall into the earth. The desert is dead. Nothing grows in the sand, So they say all the desert is dead. I forgot what they're called, growing dirt. It's full of greenery. When it's alive, it's forestation, it's flooring, whatever. But sand doesn't do that, so sand already dead. Like, ain't nothing on there. Who knows what's in the bottom? Dirt, dirt could come from space. The Big Bang could be making dirt when it explodes. Boom, it could be dirt. Another thing, as a baby, you have hyphen senses. You were once hunter and gatherers. Okay, it's still in your DNA. You ever wonder, as a kid, when you go to elementary school, you're 5 years old. You remember how the school bus smells. You remember how the crayon smells. Your nose is hyphen. It means your senses are more powerful when you're a baby. You remember your Crayolas. You remember how your school smells. You remember the first day of school. You remember how your backpack smells. And when you get older, you lose that hyphen sensitivity or your sense of smell because you just stop caring about the world. You just stop caring. You don't care no more. But as an adult, people still go, oh, Crayolas, markers. You could kind of remember how that feeling felt. And those are hyphen hunter and gatherer senses that, let's keep talking outside. Those are hyphen hunter and gatherer senses that were used to recognize a plant as a baby, a strawberry, fruits and vegetables. So when you got older, those smells and senses that you love about school so much were used to find leaves and plants in nature. So what I'm trying to say is when you were an Indian or living in the jungle, as you got older, you remember as a baby what your parents let you smell for the first time. And then as you got older, you always said, oh, that medicine reminds me of my childhood, my elementary school. We can eat that in elementary. Oh, that makes you feel better. And now it's being replaced, and that's called the system, the school system. Now you're being thrown inside of school, and all your baby senses that you develop as hunter and gatherers are being used to remember monopolies. I'm playing. They're being used to remember, great inventions, things that have been updating markers, wax, Crayolas, colors. Colors is beautiful. Back then they didn't have color. Imagine the guy that discovered the color and painting. They started painting. He fell in love so much, he started painting the rest of his life. He wanted to paint everything. But that's also the system. You're in there, and your hyphen sessions are being used for things that are being sold, and like crayons, and yes, and it's also things being taught from 1960, 1800s, Industrial Revolution, from 2000, George Bush, to uh, the first president, you know, and that's the school system. So we're getting close to the end of the video. Harvard girls, Harvard kids. I'm an Oxford child. I'm an Oxford baby. You know why? Because when you go to college, you're given resources, so you're able to use your computer and find information. So even when I was in school, I had classes, but they give you it's like Google for college, right? Where you could find nothing but credible resources. Sometimes you gotta go out and buy books, but you can't really do that. You have to buy uh, the books that the school is selling. You can only take so many classes. If you could take all the books and all the classes, that's what will happen, right? So they give you this platform online where you can do your own research for other things you're interested in. And as I would do that, a lot of that material came from Oxford. And as I'm falling in love with my education and studying, I love how Oxford people were right. Uh, but Harvard kids, Harvard girls, send me your college books, history, quantum physics, love books, law. Give me law books. Give me give me law books and I'll go take the law test, MK, LK, wherever the hell you call it. When you make that YouTube series, you send me all your Harvard law books. Again, remember when we talk about northern border states passing laws, remember there was only two in the beginning. There was only one northern, one southern state that were in the 1960 era was competing. It wasn't all of America, it was just two. Also, one of the things they do in the asylums, one of the things they did to crazy people was make them believe in false stories. They would tell them they had a family, they would tell them they had kids, they would tell them they had a job, and they would believe it. Besides other dangerous tactics, besides shock and stuff, they believe in any story. They would just believe any story that was told. The fall of Rome. I'm really in the wrong, right? They make you believe be in the Rome. It inspired America's government, 3 judicial branches, all old white people, blah blah blah, so on. So who won in the fall of Rome? Everyone falls in the U.S. Who knows? One thing, the Rome all had lead pipes, so they all made sewing system, faucets, sinks, bathrooms, but they made the pipes out of, instead of metal that didn't erode in water, didn't contaminate water, they made them out of lead pipe, out of your lead pencils. And what happened is they all drank water, and they said that all the time, but they're still there. So send me more books. And look at my eyes, look at my eyes, look at my eyes. It's 5 in the morning. The way he sang